My name is Natalie Pierce, and I'm 27 years old. Competence doesn't make noise. It hums. Off-peak dishwasher at 12:01. The budgeting sheet closing with green cells. The kind of calm that keeps the floor from tilting. I like ballast. Nobody praises ballast until the boat lists. Thursday nights used to feel safe. The apartment smelled like bergamot and takeout noodles. The lamp cut a soft triangle across the rug we picked together, which mostly meant I paid for it, and Logan approved. He sat on the couch, half turned toward me, half hidden behind his phone. His thumbs moved with the muscle memory of a magician palming a card. "Work?" I asked lightly. "Yeah." He didn't look up. The air thinned. A hum, then silence. His phone buzzed again. I saw the name flash, Marissa, and felt the sound go quiet inside me. His ex. She'd moved back to town a few weeks ago. He'd mentioned it casually, tone off key. "Oh, she just got a job here," he'd said, like weather. That night, he set his phone down face down. "Nat," he started, and my stomach knew before my brain did. "I think we should take a break." I stared at him. "A break?" He nodded, eyes on the rug. "I need space to figure things out. It's not you, it's me." The oldest script in the world. My heartbeat made a quiet, angry sound in my ears. "Okay," I said. That startled him. "That's it? Just okay?" "You said you need space. I'm giving it to you." He blinked, like he'd expected a performance. Begging, bargaining. But all I gave him was air. He moved out the next week, leaving half his stuff behind. He told me, "It's just temporary," like we were pausing a song. But the lease didn't pause. Both our names were printed on that contract in firm black ink, equal halves of obligation. The rent was due in 3 weeks. I covered the first month to protect my credit and sent him a certified letter. Polite, professional, not a word more than required. Attached, highlighted copy of Clause 12, joint and several liability. He never replied. 2 weeks later, I got my answer without words. Marissa posted a photo, she and Logan at our favorite restaurant, the caption reading, "Sometimes life brings people back together." My throat burned, but not from surprise. I took a screenshot, not out of pain, but for records. I texted him once. "Hey, I sent you a letter about the lease. You're still responsible for half the rent. If you want off, we need to sign termination paperwork together." He replied, "Can't this wait? I'm really busy." "The rent is due on the 1st, I typed. "You're legally responsible for your share." Then, silence. I documented every message, every post, every absence. Calm doesn't mean weak. It just means prepared. The next month, when payment didn't come, I sent a demand letter, drafted from an online legal template. It felt sterile, like paperwork for grief. He called that night, voice jagged. "Are you serious right now? What the hell is wrong with you?" "I'm following the lease we both signed," I said. "You know I can't afford that." "Then sign the termination, otherwise it's on both of us." "You're being cold." "No," I said quietly. "You asked for space. This is what space costs." He hung up. By law, property left for over 30 days counts as abandoned. I coordinated with the landlord. He sent a notice to Logan's last known address. No response. After the deadline passed, I boxed up his things, donated them to a men's shelter, and got a tax receipt. I emailed him the copy. "Your belongings are helping someone who actually needs them." He didn't reply, but 2 hours later, I got a text from an unknown number. "You have a problem." I knew it was him. I just wrote back, "No problem here, just following the law." After that, the apartment felt lighter. The walls stopped waiting for footsteps that wouldn't return. 3 months passed. I started sleeping through the night again. Work steadied, life clicked back into rhythm. Then one morning, as I checked my email, a new message appeared. From an address I hadn't seen in months. "Hey, how are you? Been thinking about us. I made a mistake. Can we talk?" My cursor hovered. I typed slowly. "I'm seeing someone else now. I wish you the best." I hit send, then set my phone face down. 20 minutes later, there was a knock on my door. The knock didn't sound polite. I stood frozen, heart hammering. Through the peephole, I saw him. Logan. His hair was messy, eyes red, hands trembling like he'd run here. "Natalie, please," he said through the door. "Can we just talk?" I kept the chain on. "It's late." "You can't just move on like that." "It's been 6 months," I said, voice steady. "You ended it, remember?" "I said a break, not a breakup." I shook my head. "You moved in with your ex. That's not a break." He started crying, the ugly, gasping kind that used to undo me. "Marissa and I broke up," he said. "She lied to me." "That's unfortunate," I said, "but it's not my problem anymore." He looked stunned, like I'd spoken another language. You used to care about me. I did, I said quietly. But caring doesn't mean reopening a wound. Behind me, my phone buzzed. A call from Evan, the man I'd started seeing. His name glowed like a lifeline. My boyfriend is calling, I told Logan. You need to leave. His face twisted. You replaced me? No, I said. I healed. That broke something in him. His voice rose. He started shouting about betrayal, about how I'd humiliated him by sending that rent letter, how I'd donated his things out of spite. Logan, I warned, you need to leave before this becomes something else. He slammed his fist against the door. You'll regret this. I picked up my phone, dialed the non-emergency line, and reported the disturbance. When the officer arrived, Logan was gone. The next morning, I woke up to 47 messages, ranging from apologies to threats to nostalgia. I screenshotted them all, stored them in a folder named Evidence. The folder was neat, color-coded, time-stamped. I closed it, exhaled, and whispered, breaks have consequences. The day after the 47 messages, the city felt louder, like every horn and crosswalk beep was tuned a half-step sharp. I kept my headphones in at work, not for music, but for something between me and the world. Lunch was yogurt at my desk and a spreadsheet that behaved better than most people. Calm is a practice. I practiced. Evan texted mid-afternoon. Tonight, I'm making pasta. You can judge my sauce like a Roman nonna. I smiled at the screen. 7? I'll bring salad. If it's kale again, he wrote. I reserve the right to act betrayed. I'll print you a cease and desist. Your love letters are so romantic. At 6:40, I took the elevator down from my apartment and crossed to his place 2 blocks away. Evan's door opened with the smell of garlic and a song humming from a tiny speaker, something with a warm guitar that made the walls feel closer in a good way. He kissed my forehead, then held me at arm's length. You look like you slept 3 hours, he said gently. 4, I corrected. Progress. We ate at his small wooden table. He talked about his students and their campaign to ban pop quizzes, and I cracked up at the phrase academic revolution. When I laughed, something unclenched, a muscle I'd been holding without noticing. After dinner, we washed dishes side by side, sleeves pushed back, warm water and an easy quiet. Then his face shifted. Can I ask, is it over? He said. The messages? I dried a plate slowly. I blocked his number, but there are a lot of ways to knock on a life. Evan nodded. He wasn't a fixer. He didn't reach for solutions like a shield. He just stood there with me, which felt like the rarest form of help. If you want, we can call Detective Ruiz tomorrow, he said. I can take the morning off. Let's see how tonight goes, I said. Tonight went the way nights go when you're trying to build normal again. Tea, an episode of a show where nothing explodes, lights out by 11. I stayed until nearly midnight, then walked home with a tote bag of leftovers and the thought that maybe I could trust mornings again. My buzzer sounded as I reached my stairwell. For a second, I thought I imagined it. Then it buzzed again, long and insistent. I froze, tote bag handles digging into my fingers. I pressed the intercom. Who is it? Silence, then, open up, Nat. Logan. No, I said, steady despite the cold rush in my chest. It's not a good time. Just 5 minutes. I just want to talk, he said. His voice had that pleading edge that used to slice me open. Communicate through my lawyer, I said. You have her email. Why are you being like this? He demanded. I'm trying to make things right. You are at my door at midnight after I asked you not to contact me. That isn't right. It's trespassing on my boundaries. A beat of quiet, then the buzzer again. Angry, held down. I stepped back from the panel and called the non-emergency line, gave them last night's report number, my address, my name. The dispatcher's voice was even. Units en route. By the time blue and red washed the street, Logan was gone again, slippery as a story that won't hold still. The officers took my statement, reminded me to keep documenting, and told me a detective would follow up. I climbed the stairs, shaking, unlocked my door, and sat on the hallway rug with my tote bag still on my wrist like a strange bracelet. Morning brought its ordinary armor, coffee, a ponytail, a blazer I trusted. I walked into Attorney Lydia Chen's office at 9 with a folder labeled Evidence and a spiral notebook of dates, times, and exact quotes. Lydia wore a navy suit and a quiet expression that said she'd seen worse and planned for it. We reviewed everything. The break, the lease, the donation receipt, the door incident, the midnight buzzer. I slid my phone across the desk with the screenshots. The whiplash of I miss you next to you'll regret this. This is the part where I'm going to be boring, Lydia said. Boring protects you. I'll draft a formal cease and desist and send it certified to his home and work, as well as any known email addresses. We will reference your prior police interactions and put him on written notice that further contact will be treated as harassment. Parallel to that, I want you to file for a temporary restraining order if he contacts you again or appears at your residence or workplace. What about social media? I asked. He hasn't said anything there yet. If he posts vague insinuations, keep screenshots, she said. If he names you or your workplace, we escalate to defamation counsel and add it to the TRO packet. The theme here is document and escalate. Understood? Understood, I said. She drafted while I sat, the printer breathing out paper like a calm animal. We notarized, stamped, sealed. On my way out, Lydia put the stack in my hands and looked me in the eye. You are not being dramatic, she said. You are being prudent. There's a difference. That afternoon, the online smoke started. An account I didn't recognize, locked, 5 followers, posted. Some people will ruin your life, then call the cops for attention. 2 mutuals liked it. No names. Still, the arrow of it felt obvious. I screenshotted, dated, filed. At 7, Evan texted, "My place? I have actual basil, not the dried sadness kind." I was halfway there when my phone rang from an unknown number. "Ms. Pierce, Detective Ruiz. I'm following up on your reports." His voice was taut but warm. I explained the pattern. He asked precise questions and told me what would matter to a judge. Timestamps, escalation, the leap from texts to physical presence. "Do not open the door," he said. "Do not respond directly anymore. If he appears, call 911. We can only connect dots you give us." "Okay," I said. "I'm trying to be boring." "That's the goal," he said. Evan's building glowed gold from the lobby lamp. I pressed the elevator button and exhaled for the first time since the call. Up on the 3rd floor, Evan opened his door barefoot, basil in hand like a trophy. "It's real," he said. "I Googled how not to kill it." I laughed, walked in, and kissed him. We moved through the evening like you move through a song you love, comfort in the chorus and forgiveness for the off notes. We were plating pasta when Evan's gaze snagged on the window. His smile dropped. "Natalie," he said quietly, "don't turn around, just listen." My lungs stopped. He set the plate down without sound. "He's outside," he said, voice thin. "Across the street, parked at the curb. He's looking up at my window." We stayed very still, as if motion could make the moment notice us more. He gently slid his phone across the counter. Camera app open. Zoomed. Logan's car, Logan's profile. The tilt of a head I once loved and now recognized like a threat. Evan whispered, "I'm calling 911. "No," I said, "I am." I knew the report numbers. I knew the words. Knowing was its own small power. The dispatcher answered. I spoke in a level voice I didn't feel. Within minutes, 2 cruisers slid into the street like punctuation. Red-blue washed the walls again. Evan took my hand. We watched from behind the curtain line as officers approached the car. Logan gestured wildly, then slumped, then straightened, as if he could pull dignity up like a zipper. An officer looked up at the window, at us, and nodded once. There was no protective order served yet, but pattern matters. Intent matters. Showing up at night at the new boyfriend's home after multiple warnings, that matters. They pulled him from the car with the calm efficiency of people who have walked this path too many times. He didn't fight, but his voice rose, fraying. "This is what she wants," he shouted toward the building, toward the general idea of me, to ruin my life. I closed my eyes. Evan's thumb traced a slow circle on the back of my hand. We didn't answer. We owed him nothing. An officer came to the door to take our statements. Evan spoke softly. I was precise. The officer's pen moved in quick, sharp lines. "You've done the right things," he said to me. "Keep doing them. File for a temporary order in the morning. We'll include tonight's arrest in the report." After they left, silence fell, clean and heavy. Evan leaned his forehead against mine. "I hate that this is happening to you," he said. "I hate that I ever learned this particular vocabulary," I answered. Demand letters and TROs and cease and desists. I wanted to learn the names of herbs. He smiled, small and sad. "Basil," he said. "Thyme, rosemary." "Protection," I added. "Documentation." "Boundaries," he said. We ate the now cooling pasta. Halfway through, my phone lit up with a new email. Cease and desist. Delivered. Signed. Lydia's assistant must have set tracking. The proof of receipt felt like a hinge clicking into place. We didn't talk about love, we talked about plans. Tomorrow I'd go to the courthouse with Lydia's packet. Evan would meet me after his second period class. We would be boring and thorough. We would copy and notarize and certify until the system recognized the pattern we already lived. When I finally walked home, the street looked like itself again. A street, not a stage. In my apartment, I filed the arrest incident number in evidence, named the folder with clean, unemotional words. 2024-09-14, Evan address, officer report. I backed it up to a drive. I texted my landlord a heads up, just in case Logan tried anything creative with the lease history. Then I sat at the table, hands flat, and breathed. Calm is a practice, and sometimes it's a decision you make while your heart sprinted a marathon you didn't sign up for. I turned off the lamp and said into the dark, not a prayer, not a wish, just a statement of future fact. Tomorrow, I whispered. I draw the line in ink. It had been 3 quiet months. The kind of quiet that felt earned, not accidental. Evan and I fell into small rituals. Sunday markets, shared coffee pods, double toothbrush holder. My lawyer Lydia filed the paperwork efficiently, and Detective Ruiz confirmed the temporary restraining order had held. Logan's name stopped appearing anywhere. No texts, no tags, no late-night shadows parked on curbs. But peace is never just peace. It's the space before the next sound. One Wednesday morning, my phone rang at work. Lydia's number. Good news or bad? I asked. Depends on how you define closure, she said. Logan's attorney reached out. He's requesting a mediated meeting. The pen in my hand froze midair. For what purpose? They claim he wants to share information about a separate criminal case involving a third party. He's offering to sign a 5-year extension on your protective order in exchange for a 15-minute meeting. Under supervision, both lawyers present. No private contact. My pulse quickened. A criminal case? Against Marissa Kane, Lydia said. Apparently she's under investigation for blackmail and coercion. The room tilted slightly. Marissa, Logan's ex, the catalyst of everything. He wants to talk about her? That's what they're saying. We can decline, but a 5-year guaranteed extension is leverage worth considering. That night, Evan listened as I explained it all. His hand rested over mine, warm but tense. You owe him nothing, he said softly. It's a trap, Nat. Maybe, I said. Or maybe it's insurance. If he's lying, we'll have witnesses. If he's telling the truth, it's closure with paperwork. He stared at me for a long moment. You're the most reasonable person I've ever met, and I hate that reason has to sound like this. We agreed I'd go. Once, protected, recorded, observed. The meeting was in a neutral conference room at Lydia's firm. Long oak table, too much air conditioning, that faint, sterile scent of paper and ink. Lydia sat beside me, her laptop open. Across the table, Logan, cleaner cut, thinner, a calm shadow of himself. His lawyer, Mr. Abrams, placed a thick folder on the table. Thank you for agreeing to this, Logan said. His voice was steady, rehearsed. I met his gaze without giving warmth. 15 minutes. He nodded. Right. I'm not here to make excuses. I've been in therapy for 3 months. Intensive, daily. I finally understand what I did, and I don't expect forgiveness. I stayed silent. Lydia's cursor blinked in the corner of my eye. He inhaled. You deserve to know what really happened last year. Marissa didn't just reappear. She blackmailed me. She had videos from when we were together years ago. She threatened to release them to my company, my family, the press, if I didn't leave you and move in with her. The air left my lungs. You're saying she extorted you? Yes, he said quickly. I panicked. I thought I could manage it. Give her what she wanted, and she'd stop. But she didn't. She controlled everything, texts, photos, even what I posted online. That restaurant photo, she staged it. She made me caption it. Every time I tried to reach out to you, she threatened to send another clip. I didn't know how to tell you without dragging you into it. His lawyer slid a document across the table. This is a copy of the police report Mr. Hart filed 2 months ago. The investigation is ongoing. Lydia flipped through it carefully. Official letterhead. Case number. Attachments listing Marissa Kane as primary suspect. Blackmail and extortion as charges. My name appeared once under collateral victim. Logan continued, voice trembling now. After she dumped me, I broke. I lost everything. My job, my reputation, my mind. I became obsessed with you because losing you was the one thing that wasn't supposed to happen. The messages, the showing up, it was wrong. I see that now. I was trying to reclaim something that wasn't mine anymore." He rubbed his hands together, eyes rimmed red. "You didn't deserve any of it." I stared at the table, the grain pattern swirling like static. "Why tell me now?" "Because you didn't deserve the lie either," he said. "And because part of my therapy requires restitution, acknowledging harm to those I've hurt." My lawyer suggested the extension offer as a gesture of accountability. 5 years, Lydia confirmed. He's agreed to sign immediately after this meeting. I looked at Logan. "You think this makes things better?" "No," he said quietly. "Just clearer." There was a long silence. Somewhere down the hall, a printer started up, mundane and constant. Finally, I spoke. "You let me believe you left because you were tired of me. Because you wanted her. All this time, you could have told the truth." "I was ashamed," he said, "and afraid. She recorded me without consent, and I thought people would think I deserved it." Lydia shut her laptop. "We've heard enough. We'll review the police report with our own counsel." Logan nodded, pulling out the extension form. His hand shook slightly as he signed the dotted line. "I'm not asking for forgiveness, Natalie. Just that you know you were never the villain." I stood. "You made me one in your story. You called the cops an act of cruelty. You told the world I ruined you." He flinched. "I know, and I'm sorry." "Sorry is currency," I said. "Spend it on the people you hurt next time before they become evidence." Lydia gathered our documents. We left without shaking hands. That night, Evan listened as I recounted everything. His expression was a complicated weave. Sympathy for the truth, disgust for the cost. "So she blackmailed him?" he asked. "Apparently, and he let it rot both of us." He leaned back, exhaling. "It explains the chaos, doesn't erase it." "No," I said softly. "Some explanations just describe the damage." We sat in silence. Outside, the city murmured like distant water. Finally, Evan said, "What happens now?" "Lydia will file the signed order tomorrow. 5 years of quiet, at least." He nodded, taking my hand. 5 years is long enough to forget the sound of his name. I wanted to believe him, but the truth was heavier than silence. It lingered. Not as fear, but as knowledge. That even the worst people can also be broken, and that broken doesn't mean harmless. Before bed, I opened the digital folder and renamed it Resolved, Protected Order, 5 years. I didn't read the attached apology letter. Lydia said it would be raw, remorseful. Maybe someday I'd open it, not tonight. I clicked save, then closed my laptop. Evan reached for me in the dark, and I let him. For the first time in a long time, touch didn't feel like proof. It felt like presence. 2 months later, life had settled into a quiet I could finally trust. Not the brittle quiet that cracks under the smallest sound, but the kind that stretches across mornings, coffee steam curling above the cup, Evan humming while grading papers, my inbox blessedly full of nothing dramatic. Then, one Thursday afternoon, Lydia called again. Her voice carried that same calm tension that always meant bad news delivered responsibly. "Marissa Kane was arrested this morning," she said. "Multiple counts. Blackmail, coercion, harassment. Not just Logan. 4 other victims." For a long moment, I said nothing. Just watched sunlight crawl across the corner of my desk, lighting the rim of my mug. "So he wasn't lying," I murmured. "No," she said. And she named him as a cooperating witness. "You're listed as a collateral victim again, but there's no further involvement required unless you want to submit a victim impact statement." "No," I said. "I think silence is mine to keep." Evan and I moved into a new apartment the next week. New walls, new keys, no echoes. We built small domestic peace, basil by the window, a fridge magnet shaped like a tomato, the mundane rhythm of 2 people relearning safety. Sometimes, when the sun hit the counter just right, I thought about how easily a story can twist, how a break becomes abandonment, how fear becomes control, how love, when sick, mutates into something with teeth. Logan hadn't contacted me since the mediated meeting. His 5-year order sat like invisible glass between us, clear, solid, necessary. One Saturday morning, as I stood in line at the grocery store, I saw a woman a few lanes over, mid-50s, silver hair pinned in a low bun, eyes cautious and kind. "Ms. Pierce?" she asked quietly. I turned. "Yes?" She hesitated, clutching a basket of oranges. Her voice wavered, "Marissa's mother." The air seemed to still between us. "I just wanted to say," she continued, "what happened, all of it, it was for the best. My daughter's therapist said she had to hit rock bottom before she'd accept help. The arrest, the court order, it forced her to face what she'd been running from. Her anxiety, her illness, her choices. I nodded, unsure whether to speak. She's in a treatment program now, Mrs. Kane said softly. She's remorseful and grateful you didn't retaliate online or make it uglier. You could have. I didn't want to live there anymore, I said, in ugliness. She smiled, a tired kind of gratitude. Thank you. And then she walked away, shoulders lightened by something between guilt and relief. That night, Evan cooked dinner, seared salmon, roasted vegetables, candles lit for no reason other than we could. Halfway through, he reached across the table and said, "You look like you're finally breathing in full sentences again." "Maybe I am," I said. He smiled. "You ever think about what you'd tell her, if you could?" Marissa? Her, him, any of them. I looked down at my plate, thought of all the letters I never wrote, the explanations I never got, the apologies I never needed to read. "I'd tell them," I said slowly, "that empathy isn't access, that I can understand someone's pain without reopening my door, that forgiveness and forgetting are not the same thing." He nodded. "That's more merciful than they deserve." "Mercy," I said, "isn't for them, it's for me." Weeks later, Lydia emailed a scanned copy of the finalized court report. State versus Kane, conviction. I opened it once, saw the sentencing, 7 years, and closed it again. I made a folder called Closed Cases, dropped every file inside, and dragged the old Evidence folder into it. The screen blinked, one simple progress bar swallowing a year of chaos. For a long time, I just watched the blue fill inch forward. Completion wasn't satisfaction. It was relief, shaped like silence. Some nights, I still woke up and listened, habit pretending to be vigilance, but there was only the hum of the fridge, the steady breath of the man beside me, the quiet proof that peace didn't need applause. Evan stirred, half asleep. "Can't sleep?" "I'm fine," I whispered. He smiled into the pillow. "You always are." I brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. "Not always. Just practiced." Months later, I ran into Logan's mother outside a bookstore. She looked smaller somehow, but calmer, carrying a paperback and a paper bag. She stopped when she saw me. "I just wanted to say," she began, "he's doing better. Therapy, medication, real work this time. He says you saved his life, even if you don't believe it." "I didn't save him," I said. "The consequences did." She nodded, eyes glistening. Sometimes they're the same thing. We parted with polite smiles, two people linked by disaster, finally free of it. That evening, I stood by our balcony watching the city. Cars threaded through the dusk. Somewhere below, a violin busker played a slow, careful melody. I thought about everything that had happened, the lies, the fear, the paperwork that replaced emotion, the legal language that stood where love used to live. Some endings clap, some crash, and some just stop echoing. I smiled faintly, exhaling into the cool air. "That's silence," I said to no one. "That's peace."